Hello, my name is Adam Klassen, and I will be presenting on the FEMA organizational structure, communication channel RACI chart, and a cost-benefit analysis. So let me just share my screen here. All right. There we go. So FEMA has maintained the top-down organizational structure, being that the upper half of the chart focuses on the administrative, strategic, and compliance management sector of FEMA. They are tasked with facilitating the strategic planning goals of the organization in terms of directing plans for the usage of resources, including monetary, human, infosec, technology, and other infrastructure to maintain their mandate of disaster relief efforts. The bottom half of the organizational chart is the operational aspect of the organization, the one that is charged with putting the strategic mandate into effect. These are broken into administrators who, through their department, are charged with facilitating emergency relief in different areas, including mission support, response and recovery efforts, and the like. The organization utilizes a regional system to separate areas that are given their own regional administrators who are charged with emergencies in that region. FEMA has 10 regions, as you can see on the left, with 10 regional administrators that cover all states of the country. This is important because the external stakeholders grouped into these regions generally have similar risks, environments, and areas of concern that FEMA is mandated to assist in. This brings me to the external stakeholders that at its macro level is the citizens of the United States. But in a micro level, these include local and state government authorities, tribal authorities, utility companies, communication companies, media organizations, contractors, local and state employees, citizens, housing officials, inspectors, emergency medical, police personnel, fire personnel, business leaders, and the like. As the illustration shows, there is a specific organizational structure when a large-scale incident occurs in terms of communication. The lead public information officer from FEMA, along with a joint information center liaison, work with local and state officials to gather and then disseminate information, support our operations, and liaise with FEMA officials. Here I have an RACI chart that effectively shows the organizational chart of FEMA in establishing reporting and communication channels for these internal and external stakeholders. As you can see, the internal and external stakeholders are involved in the reporting and communication channels when there's a disaster situation. From the administrator to the citizenry, each portion either receives information, is responsible, accountable, or consulted about the areas noted. It covers the hiring of resources through to communication resources, strategies, communicating through the media, reporting to other local, state, tribal, federal authorities. An important factor to note is that in the interaction of internal and external stakeholders is that while each has their own scope or are affected differently, both still rely on clear lines of communication and reporting to facilitate the goals on the ground and strategic goals overall. This is an example of an actual RACI chart that was used in a flash flood situation in Colorado. And here's a cost-benefit analysis. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to present the findings of the cost-benefit analysis as it relates to the time, labor, and equipment of our organization and relates specifically to your work as a C-suite in charge of strategy. It is important to remember that as we attempt to reach our strategic objectives as you have set them out, we must take note of the cost versus the benefits, especially as it relates to our InfoSec areas of concern. Demonstrated here, ARO pre is 0.5 as these systems are unsecured or not optimal, therefore higher risk for breaches. Post-control, you will notice that the ARO and the EF has been decreased significantly with the adoption of these InfoSec control measures. These controls overall provide a positive CBA, with many of these controls being direct or net benefits, as well as total benefits. Even in the cases of indirect benefits, these outweigh the costs in terms of monetary value and reputation to the organization. With the CBA equaling a positive value of $4.2 million, we see that these controls will have a positive benefit to the organization. And although they do cost money, they will, in the long run, provide efficiencies and mitigate our risks in these certain areas. If we don't institute more stringent security controls or update our infrastructure, even at such a large piece of the budget, the ratio for exposure will be higher, and threat agents are able and threat vectors are able to be found, and then that can harm the data in the systems. Because of this, I highly recommend that you prioritize the cost-benefit analysis in determining the strategic direction we take as part in as InfoSec. finance, and operations to ensure that we can reach our target goals effectively. Thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please let me know.